when I told you the story of the Bakassi Boys, the vigilante who became feared across the southeast, the men who claimed they could identify criminals, fight armed robbers, and bring people they considered dangerous to justice? Well, there was one man whose story became deeply connected to the rise of the Bakassi Boys. His name was Eddy Nawgu, and his story is one of the darkest and most controversial stories from Anambra State years back. But before we get into how he died, we need to go back to the beginning. Eddy Nawgu, whose name was Eddy Okeke, became known as a religious leader and the founder of the Anioma Healing Ministry in Nawgu, Anambra State. According to research of his life and ministry, the healing ministry began around 1985 when Eddy was in Jos. He later came back to his hometown at Nawgu, and at first, the ministry was not simply known as a place of darkness. People came there because they believed that Eddy could help them. The Anioma Healing Ministry became a place where sick, troubled, and desperate people came looking for healing, prayers, and solutions to their problems. His influence grew. He became well known. More and more people traveled to Nawgu to see him. And with that influence came something else: power. Eddy Nawgu was no longer just a man running a healing center. He had become an extremely influential figure in his community, but then problems began to develop. The ministry had become associated with criminal activities, violence, armed robbery, and ritual killings. Stories were told how he pounds babies alive. One of the most disturbing claims was that human skulls and charms were found around the healing center. People go to his ministry for powers, all sorts of things. He was later referred to as Alusi Nejoka, which means a deity that goes to church. Crime rates and cases of missing persons were on the rise. There were also allegations that stolen vehicles and other properties were brought to the center. Their community members were no longer comfortable with what was happening around the community. They confronted him, but he's already powerful and an influential man. Eddy had become too powerful. Authorities could do nothing to him. His influence had also entered the politics of Nawgu. He became involved in the affairs of the town union and had serious disagreements with the traditional rulers of Nawgu. And then came the most shocking allegation of all. It was alleged that he was involved in money rituals and that businessmen, priests, and politicians do come to him seeking charms for wealth, protection, and success. Then came the Bakassi Boys. Now, if you have watched my previous stories about the Bakassi Boys, you already know that they did not begin as some ordinary government police units. They emerged in the late 1990s as a vigilante movement, particularly in the city of Aba, where traders were desperate for protection from armed robbers. You can go and watch the video. Their reputation grew quickly. Remember, I told you they moved to other states, like they started from Aba, they moved to other states like Anambra, Imo, and others. And when the group became active in Anambra, they have heard stories about what's going on in the state about Eddy Nawgu. They have heard so many stories about him. Then comes their new target, Eddy Nawgu. One morning around 4 a.m. on November 4th, 2000, there was a loud bang on the bedroom door. That was early in the morning. Some men shouted for the door to be opened. Open the door! Open the door! They were banging at the door. The wife of Eddy Nawgu, the wife opened the door. Standing outside, she was scared. Where men were carrying guns, charms, machetes, and other things. They identified themselves as the Bakassi Boys, the vigilante group. They now went straight for Eddy Nawgu. They went to his room, pulled him out of his bed, and take him away. His father was taken away, and also his elder brother was also arrested. All three were taken to the Bakassi Boys headquarters in Onitsha. But while Eddy remained in detention, his father and brother was eventually released, but Eddy was not. He was beaten, he was tortured while in the custody to confess. One inmate who shared a cell with him later said that Eddy denied the accusation against him and challenged the Bakassi Boys to prove that he was guilty. Some accounts claim that Eddy Nawgu confessed to the killing of people and using their body parts for rituals and chants, but nobody knows. 5 days after his arrest, that's on November 9th, 2000, Eddy Nawgu was taken to Ochanja Market in Onitsha. The man who had once attracted people to Nawgu seeking healing was now being displayed publicly as a dangerous criminal. What a shame. And this was where the Bakassi Boys publicly executed this man. Thousands of people gathered to watch his body being cut into pieces. There was no courtroom trial, no judge, no defense lawyer, no jury, nothing. And now what the Bakassi Boys did sent a message that they were not afraid to confront even the most powerful and feared people. The news spread and they were becoming more popular. But the accusation against Eddy went beyond crime. Some people were against the killing, that they did what the Bakassi boy did was wrong. They accused Bakassi boys of operating outside normal legal procedures. But ordinary people also saw them as men who were doing what the police and other security agencies had failed to do. Eddy Nawgu's story becomes an important part of the history of the Bakassi Boys because his death helped cement their reputation in Anambra State. They were no longer simply known as the vigilantes fighting street criminals. They had become a terrifying force capable of going after people who were considered untouchable. And Eddy Nawgu became one of the names permanently associated with that era. Then came the Nollywood. Trust Nollywood people now. The movie The Rise of the Bakassi was where part of the story was narrated. If you have not watched the movie, you can watch it. And one of the most famous movie was Isakaba. If you've not watched Isakaba, you can watch it. So when you watch those old Nollywood movies about mysterious vigilantes hunting powerful criminals and people accused of using supernatural powers, remember that some of these stories were once influenced by real events and real people. And one of those real people was Eddy Nawgu.